Sanford and Son, 1972, wasn't just another sitcom. It became a cultural phenomenon that redefined comedy on American television. With Redd Foxx's unforgettable portrayal of Fred Sanford and a cast of talented actors who delivered laughs week after week, the series left an undeniable mark on pop culture. More than 50 years have passed since its debut, but the humor, charm, and legacy of the show remain timeless. Today, fans still ask, where are the beloved stars of Sanford and Son now? Some continue to shine in Hollywood, while others left us with lasting memories. Let's revisit the cast of this legendary show then and now. Redd Foxx portrayed Fred G. Sanford in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 49 years old, delivering one of the most iconic comedic performances in television history. Fred was the heart and soul of the series, a widowed, sharp-tongued junk dealer running a struggling business in Los Angeles with his son, Lamont. His cantankerous personality, quick wit, and over-the-top antics made him a household name. Fred was famous for feigning heart attacks while shouting, "I'm coming, Elizabeth!" dramatically calling to his late wife whenever stressed or trying to manipulate Lamont. His constant get-rich-quick schemes, wild insults, and hilarious arguments with Aunt Esther provided endless comedy, yet beneath the bluster he was deeply loyal to Lamont and cared for his friends. Foxx's natural timing and improvisation elevated the show, making Fred Sanford a cultural icon. Off-screen, Redd Foxx was a groundbreaking comedian known as the King of the Party Records, selling millions of stand-up albums before breaking into television. He paved the way for black comedians on mainstream TV and later starred in The Redd Foxx Show and The Royal Family. Foxx was married 4 times but had no children. He passed away on October 11th, 1991 at the age of 68 after suffering a massive heart attack on set, leaving behind a legacy as one of comedy's most influential and pioneering figures. Nathaniel Taylor portrayed Rollo Lawson in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 34 years old, creating one of the show's most colorful recurring characters. Rollo was Lamont's smooth-talking, streetwise friend who often got the duo into trouble, much to Fred's disapproval. Fred frequently referred to him as a thief or no good, yet Rollo had charm and style, sporting flashy clothes and a cool demeanor that made him a memorable part of the series. Despite Fred's mistrust, Rollo often showed a good heart, helping Lamont when it mattered and occasionally proving Fred wrong about him. Taylor's comedic timing gave the character depth and energy, making Rollo more than just a bad influence. Beyond Sanford and Son, Nathaniel Taylor appeared in shows like What's Happening and films including Trouble Man, 1972, and The Hunter, 1980. He later focused on youth outreach programs in Los Angeles, helping steer kids away from gangs and crime. Taylor was married and had children, remaining connected to the fan community through interviews and events. He passed away on February 27, 2019, at the age of 80 after a heart attack, leaving a legacy as a talented actor who gave one of television's most memorable sidekicks a cool, charismatic flair. LaWanda Page portrayed Aunt Esther Anderson in Sanford and Son, beginning in 1973 when she was 53 years old, transforming a supporting role into one of the most unforgettable characters in television comedy. Aunt Esther was Fred's Bible-quoting sister-in-law, famous for her fiery temper, sharp comebacks, and her habit of swinging her purse at Fred whenever he crossed the line. Their constant verbal sparring was legendary, with Esther calling Fred a heathen, and Fred firing back with equally sharp insults. A comedic rivalry that became the heart of many episodes. Despite her stern, no-nonsense nature, Aunt Esther had moments of compassion, stepping in to offer advice or restore peace when family tensions ran high. Page's performance turned Aunt Esther into a scene-stealing favorite and made her a symbol of moral conviction mixed with outrageous humor. Outside the show, LaWanda Page was a trailblazing stand-up comic known as the Queen of Comedy, and she toured extensively, headlined comedy clubs, and appeared on shows like Amen and 227. She was married once and had a daughter named Clara. LaWanda Page passed away on September 14, 2002, at the age of 81 from complications related to diabetes, leaving behind a career that broke barriers for Black women in comedy and inspired generations of female performers. Demon Wilson portrayed Lamont Sanford in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 26 years old, bringing warmth, frustration, and heart to the long-suffering son. Lamont served as the grounded counterpart to Fred's eccentric personality, often cleaning up after his father's latest scheme and trying to keep the junk business afloat. His patience was tested daily as Fred's antics, guilt trips, and insults frequently derailed Lamont's hopes for a better life. Much of the show's heart came from Lamont's internal struggle, his desire to break free and his enduring sense of responsibility to his father. Wilson's chemistry with Foxx made their father-son relationship believable, blending sharp comedy with tender moments of love and reconciliation. Outside of Sanford and Son, Demon Wilson starred in Baby, I'm Back, made numerous TV guest appearances, and later turned away from Hollywood during the 1980s. He became an ordained minister and author, focusing on faith-based outreach and writing inspirational books. Wilson married former model Cicely Johnston in 1974, and they have 6 children. As of 2025, he is 78 years old and remains an important figure in Black television history, remembered for portraying a character who balanced comedy, dignity, and generational conflict in a groundbreaking sitcom. Whitman Mayo portrayed Grady Wilson in Sanford and Son, beginning in 1973 when he was 43 years old, delivering a performance that turned the slow-moving, lovable Grady into a fan favorite. Grady was Fred's best friend, easily recognized by his shuffling walk, wide-eyed expression, and signature phrase, "Good goobly goop." Known for his gentle, slightly absent-minded personality, Grady often became Fred's partner in crime or substitute caretaker when Lamont wasn't around. He even briefly took over as the main character during Red Fox's contract dispute, proving popular enough to star in his own spin-off series, Grady, 1975. Grady's warmth and humor made him one of the show's most endearing characters, embodying the heart of the neighborhood. Beyond Sanford and Son, Whitman Mayo appeared in That's My Mama, 227, and films such as Boys in the Hood and The Main Event. Off-screen, he taught drama at Clark Atlanta University and was beloved for mentoring young actors. He was married several times and had children, including sons who followed him into entertainment. Mayo passed away on May 22, 2001, at the age of 70 after a heart attack, remembered as a gentle, dignified actor who brought kindness and warmth to every role. Don Bexley portrayed Bubba Bexley in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 62 years old, bringing an infectious laugh and lovable presence to the series. Bubba was one of Fred Sanford's closest friends, often hanging around the junkyard and joining in Fred's schemes, poker games, and neighborhood gossip. His deep, distinctive laugh became one of the show's trademarks, adding to its charm and humor. Bubba served as a loyal companion and comic relief, frequently helping Fred out of scrapes or getting dragged into mischief himself. Audiences loved his easygoing nature and cheerful personality, which balanced the fiery energy of Fred and Aunt Esther. Off-screen, Don Bexley was a seasoned vaudeville and nightclub performer before his television breakthrough, known for his work as a stand-up comedian and singer. After Sanford and Son, he appeared in shows like Cheers and Hunter, and remained a fixture at comedy clubs. He was married and had children, though he kept much of his personal life private. Don Bexley passed away on April 15, 1997, at the age of 87 from heart and kidney failure, leaving behind a legacy as one of television's most memorable sitcom sidekicks. Howard Platt portrayed Officer Hoppy Hopkins in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 34 years old, playing the earnest, well-meaning white police officer whose partnership with Smitty became a comedic highlight. Hoppy's humor often came from his naive, slightly awkward comments, which Fred used as fodder for jokes. Yet his good nature and professionalism made him a welcome presence at the junkyard. Together, Hoppy and Smitty formed one of television's earliest interracial buddy cop duos, reflecting a hopeful, more cooperative vision of policing during a decade of social change. Hoppy's ability to laugh at himself, his polite approach, and his willingness to engage with Fred's antics helped humanize authority figures and gave the show additional heart. Off-screen, Howard Platt built a long television resume with recurring roles on Baba Black Sheep, Benson, and guest appearances on MASH, Barney Miller, and many others. He also became a director and teacher, passing on his knowledge of the craft to younger actors. Though largely retired from acting today, he occasionally participates in theater and fan events, sharing stories of his time on the iconic sitcom. As of 2025, Howard Platt is 87 years old and remains fondly remembered for portraying one half of one of TV's most likable comedy duos. Hal Williams portrayed Officer Smitty Smith in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 33 years old, bringing a calm, affable presence to the neighborhood as one of its most trusted policemen. Along with his partner Hoppy, Smitty often appeared at the Sanford junkyard to break up disputes, investigate commotion, or deal with the neighborhood's colorful characters. Known for his easygoing manner and ability to keep a straight face no matter how absurd the situation became, Smitty was respected by Fred and Lamont despite being a figure of authority. His interactions with Fred frequently ended with a shared joke or wry smile, making him more than just a background cop. He became a subtle symbol of trust and community connection in the series. Williams' work gave Smitty authenticity, making him one of television's earliest examples of a black law enforcement officer portrayed positively and with humor. Beyond the series, Hal Williams enjoyed a long career, most famously starring as Lester Jenkins on 227, appearing in films such as Private Benjamin, Guess Who, and guest starring on shows like Parks and Recreation. He has been an outspoken advocate for black representation in television and remains a favorite at classic sitcom fan events. As of 2025, Hal Williams is 86 years old and still celebrated as a cornerstone of television's golden age. Lynn Hamilton portrayed Donna Harris in Sanford and Son, 1972, when she was 42 years old, playing the warm, intelligent, and endlessly patient nurse who became Fred Sanford's love interest and fiancée. Donna was a breath of fresh air in Fred's chaotic life, offering him not just romance but stability and compassion. Her presence softened Fred's blustery personality, and audiences delighted in watching the grumpy junk man reveal his tender side whenever Donna was around. She frequently mediated between Fred and Lamont, helping to ease tensions and encourage reconciliation after their arguments. Donna was also a trailblazing character, a professional black woman in a primetime sitcom who was portrayed with dignity, humor, and strength, which was groundbreaking for early 1970s television. Lynn Hamilton's graceful performance gave Donna both emotional depth and quiet strength, making her a beloved part of the show's heart. Beyond Sanford and Son, Hamilton enjoyed a prolific career, with recurring roles on Good Times, The Waltons, and Roots, The Next Generations, along with numerous TV guest spots over 3 decades. Off-screen, she was married to Frank Jenkins until his death, and she remained active in community and church life well into her later years. Lynn Hamilton passed away on June 19, 2025, at the age of 95 from natural causes, leaving behind a powerful legacy as a pioneering actress who helped shape the image of black women on television. Fritzi Burr appeared as the woman on the plane in Sanford and Son, 1974, when she was 50 years old, making a brief but memorable guest appearance. Though her role was small, her comedic timing and expressive reactions added to the humor of the episode's travel-based hijinks. Burr was a reliable character actress who often popped up in 1970s sitcoms, adding energy to whatever scene she was in. Her career included appearances on All in the Family, Barney Miller, Different Strokes, and Punky Brewster, often playing quirky or tough-minded women who left a strong impression despite limited screen time. She also acted on stage and in films, showcasing her versatility as a performer. Off-screen, Burr lived a relatively private life, focusing on her work rather than celebrity. She passed away on January 17, 2003, at the age of 78, remembered as one of those invaluable character actresses whose brief appearances always made an episode livelier and more memorable. Gregory Sierra portrayed Julio Fuentes in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 35 years old, playing Fred Sanford's Puerto Rican neighbor whose kindness and optimism often clashed with Fred's stubborn and bigoted streak. Julio was a musician and single father raising his young daughter, and his warm personality helped add heart and cultural depth to the show. His friendship with Lamont contrasted with Fred's frequent jokes about Julio's accent and background, yet Julio always handled Fred's barbs with dignity and humor, turning their exchanges into comedic highlights that reflected real-life racial tensions with a light touch. Julio's pet goat, Chico, became a running gag and a symbol of Julio's humble, community-oriented lifestyle. Gregory Sierra's performance gave Julio both depth and charm, making him more than a one-note neighbor. Beyond the series, Sierra had a prolific career with notable roles as Julio on Barney Miller, Lieutenant Lou Rodriguez on Miami Vice, and appearances in All in the Family, Hill Street Blues, and Soap. Off-screen, he was known for his generosity and activism, supporting Latino representation in Hollywood. Gregory Sierra passed away on January 4, 2021, at the age of 83 from cancer, leaving behind a legacy as one of television's most versatile and groundbreaking Latino actors. Noam Pitlik portrayed Officer Swanee Swanhauser in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 40 years old, adding another layer to the show's lineup of police officers. Swanee was a minor but memorable character, known for his straightforward, no-nonsense attitude when dealing with Fred and Lamont's latest predicaments. He represented a slightly more by-the-book presence compared to Smitty and Hoppy, often showing up when situations escalated into full-blown neighborhood chaos. Pitlik's dry delivery brought a subtle comedic edge to the role, making Swanee a small but reliable part of the show's lively atmosphere. Beyond Sanford and Son, Noam Pitlik was an Emmy Award-winning director and actor with an extensive resume. He appeared in The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Barney Miller, and All in the Family before transitioning to directing, where he became a key figure behind the camera on Barney Miller, Taxi, and Wings. His directing work earned him acclaim and multiple industry awards. Off-screen, he was married once and kept a relatively private life. Noam Pitlik passed away on February 18, 1999, at the age of 66 from lung cancer, remembered as both a gifted character actor and one of television's most skilled directors. Pat Morita appeared on Sanford and Son in 1974 when he was 42 years old, playing Ah Chu, Lamont's good-natured Japanese-American friend, and later Colonel Hayakawa in a separate comedic role. As Ah Chu, Morita brought warmth and humor to the show, creating one of the earliest Asian-American characters in a major sitcom. His interactions with Fred often played on Fred's ignorance, but Ah Chu's patience and quiet charm allowed him to rise above stereotypes, and his easy camaraderie with Lamont brought an inclusive dimension to the neighborhood. Pat Morita was already building a successful career in television, later becoming a household name as Arnold on Happy Days and earning an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in 1980. Award nomination for his iconic role as Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid franchise. His work helped bring Asian American representation into the mainstream and remains beloved worldwide. Off-screen, Morita faced personal challenges, including a difficult childhood and struggles with health, but he persevered and became a comedy legend. He was married 3 times and had 3 daughters. Pat Morita passed away on November 24, 2005, at the age of 73 from kidney failure, leaving behind a legacy as one of the most beloved and groundbreaking actors of his generation. Frank Nelson appeared as the co-pilot in Sanford and Son, 1976. When he was 65 years old, delivering a small but humorous guest performance that capitalized on his trademark style. Nelson was famous for his instantly recognizable voice and elongated "yes" catchphrase, which made him one of television and radio's most memorable character actors. Though his appearance on Sanford and Son was brief, it showcased his impeccable comedic timing and ability to steal a scene with just a few lines. Nelson's career spanned decades, beginning in radio with the Jack Benny program before transitioning to television, where he became a regular guest star on series like I Love Lucy, The Addams Family, and The Flintstones as a voice actor. He was considered a master of playing exasperated clerks, waiters, and service workers who traded hilarious barbs with the leads. Off-screen, Nelson was married to actress Viola Vaughn, and the two were a beloved Hollywood couple until his death. Frank Nelson passed away on September 12, 1986, at the age of 75 from cancer, leaving behind a rich legacy as one of the most distinctive comedic voices in classic American entertainment. Marlene Clark portrayed Janet Lawson in Sanford and Son, 1976, when she was 38 years old, stepping into the series as Lamont Sanford's love interest and fiancée during its later seasons. Janet brought a new dynamic to Lamont's story arc, challenging his devotion to his father while offering him a chance at a more independent life. As a stylish, intelligent, and confident woman, Janet helped show Lamont's growth as he tried to balance romance with his responsibility to Fred and the family business. Marlene Clark's presence added sophistication and emotional complexity to the show, and her chemistry with Demon Wilson gave fans a glimpse at what Lamont's future might hold. Beyond Sanford and Son, Clark had a successful career in film and television, starring in cult classics such as Ganja and Hess, 1973, Slaughter, 1972, and Enter the Dragon, 1973. She was also a fashion model before turning to acting, celebrated for her elegance and screen presence. Later in life, she became a beloved figure at film festivals celebrating black cinema. Marlene Clark passed away on May 18, 2023, at the age of 85, remembered as a trailblazing actress who brought poise and power to 1970s television and film. Nancy Kulp portrayed May Hopkins in Sanford and Son, 1975, when she was 54 years old, playing the friendly and occasionally flirtatious neighbor who often dropped by to check on Fred and Lamont. May's interactions with Fred provided both comic tension and unexpected moments of tenderness, with Fred sometimes softening his usual grumpy demeanor around her. Kulp was already well known to audiences for her beloved role as Miss Jane Hathaway on the Beverly Hillbillies, where she earned an Emmy nomination for her portrayal of the prim, proper secretary hopelessly in love with banker Mr. Drysdale. Beyond sitcoms, Nancy Kulp worked extensively on stage and screen, appearing in The Aristocats as the voice of Frou Frou and shows like Perry Mason and I Spy. In 1984, she made headlines by running for U.S. Congress in Pennsylvania, demonstrating her commitment to public service and education. She lived openly as a lesbian in her later years, making her a quiet trailblazer for LGBTQ visibility. Nancy Kulp passed away on February 3, 1991, at the age of 69 from cancer, leaving a legacy as a talented character actress who brought charm, intelligence, and progressive values to her roles. Slappy White portrayed Melvin in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 51 years old, bringing his quick wit and streetwise humor to the show. Melvin was one of Fred Sanford's neighborhood friends, often hanging around the junkyard and joining in on the banter, card games, and get-rich-quick schemes. Known for his easy laugh and smooth delivery, Melvin added extra flavor to the group scenes and embodied the camaraderie that defined the show's portrayal of Watts, Los Angeles. Slappy White, whose real name was Melvin White, was already a legendary comedian before joining the series. Celebrated for his civil rights-era comedy and groundbreaking work as one of the first black comedians to regularly perform for integrated audiences. He shared stages with icons like Red Fox and appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show and The Flip Wilson Show. His stand-up routines often mixed humor with pointed social commentary, making him a respected voice during a turbulent era. Off-screen, White was married 4 times, including to gospel singer Laverne Baker. He passed away on November 7, 1995, at the age of 74 from a heart attack. Remembered as a comedy trailblazer whose charm and timing left an indelible mark on American entertainment. Arnold Johnson portrayed George F. Hutch Hutton in Sanford and Son, 1975, when he was 54 years old, playing a recurring neighborhood friend whose calm, witty presence often contrasted with Fred's fiery antics. Hutch would frequently join Fred, Bubba, and Grady in trading jokes, playing cards or discussing the troubles of the day, contributing to the sense of community that made the show so beloved. Johnson's smooth, understated delivery made Hutch a dependable supporting player and gave the audience a sense that this was a real neighborhood with a full cast of personalities. Beyond Sanford and Son, Arnold Johnson enjoyed a diverse career in television and film, appearing in Shaft, 1971, Menace the Second Society, 1993, and series like Good Times and Starsky and Hutch. His deep voice and dignified presence made him a popular choice for authority figures and wise, older characters. Off-screen, he kept a low profile and focused on his craft. Arnold Johnson passed away on April 10, 2000, at the age of 78, remembered as a versatile character actor whose contributions helped define the ensemble comedy style of the 1970s. Helen Martin appeared as the First Lady in Sanford and Son, 1976, when she was 67 years old, adding her signature sass and comic timing to the series. Though her role was brief, Martin's sharp delivery and expressive face made her memorable, and she would go on to become a beloved presence in African-American sitcoms throughout the following decades. Helen Martin was a seasoned stage actress and one of the first Black women to join the Actors Equity Association, performing in Broadway productions like Porgy and Bess and Raisin in the Sun, before transitioning to film and television. She became best known to TV audiences as Pearl Shea, the nosy neighbor on 227, and also appeared in Good Times, The Jeffersons, and films including Hollywood Shuffle and Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. Off-screen, she was known as witty and outspoken, never afraid to tackle serious issues in her work. Helen Martin passed away on March 25, 2000, at the age of 90 from a heart attack, leaving behind a career that spanned over half a century and broke barriers for Black actresses in comedy and drama alike. Ron Glass portrayed Herman Edwards in Sanford and Son, 1972, when he was 27 years old, appearing in one of his earliest television roles. Herman was a smooth, likable character who interacted with Fred and Lamont during the early seasons, showcasing Glass's natural charisma and hinting at the breakout career that was to come. Ron Glass went on to become a beloved television star, best known for playing Detective Ron Harris on the critically acclaimed sitcom Barney Miller, 1975 to 1982, where his suave, witty performance earned him an Emmy nomination. He also gained a devoted cult following for his portrayal of Shepard Book in Joss Whedon's Firefly, 2002, and the follow-up film Serenity, 2005. Glass worked steadily across film, television, and stage, admired for his elegance and intelligence as a performer. Off-screen, he was deeply spiritual, a practicing Buddhist, and known for his mentoring of younger actors. Ron Glass passed away on November 25, 2016, at the age of 71 from respiratory failure, remembered as an actor of rare sophistication who brought depth and dignity to every role. Matthew "Stymie" Beard portrayed Otis Littlejohn in Sanford and Son, 1973, when he was 48 years old, marking a memorable later career role for the former child star. Otis was one of Fred Sanford's colorful friends from the neighborhood, often showing up at the junkyard to swap jokes, stories, and drinks, adding to the authentic feel of the Watts setting. Beard first rose to fame as Stymie in the Our Gang, Jeter, Little Rascals shorts of the 1930s, becoming one of the most beloved child actors of his generation with his trademark derby hat and wise beyond his years persona. His career later slowed, and he struggled with personal challenges, including drug addiction, before finding redemption through religion and a return to acting in the 1970s. Beard also made appearances in Good Times and The Jeffersons, earning a new wave of fans who remembered him from childhood. He passed away on January 8, 1981, at the age of 56 after suffering a stroke, leaving behind a bittersweet but inspiring legacy as an actor who overcame hardship and returned to the craft he loved. Danny Wells portrayed Danny Taylor in Sanford and Son, 1974, when he was 33 years old, bringing his lively personality and quick comedic timing to the show as one of Fred Sanford's acquaintances. Danny was a classic neighborhood character, fast-talking, good-natured, and always ready to jump into the action when Fred or Lamont needed a helping hand. Wells was a prolific character actor, appearing in countless television series throughout the 1970s and 1980s, including Kojak, The Jeffersons, and Columbo. He became best known for playing Charlie the bartender on The Jeffersons for over a decade, and later earned a cult following as Luigi in the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. 1989, where his warm portrayal brought the video game hero to life for a generation of children. Off-screen, Wells was a devoted family man and was respected by peers for his professionalism and generosity toward young actors. He passed away on November 28, 2013, at the age of 72, leaving a legacy as a versatile actor whose charm and humor lit up every project he touched. Who is your favorite character from Sanford and Son? How do you feel knowing that some cast members are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated. We appreciate your support and are glad to have you as part of our community.